Hello viewers, I'm Liberty Day Kandia, and today we're here to share you an interesting story of buckwheat. Recently we have seen that the government has been organizing several programs in order to create an opportunity for everyone to excel in their activities.
In a move to boost the buckwheat cultivation in the state of Meghalaya, the Meghalaya Farmers Empowerment Commission, Government of Meghalaya, has organized a platform for the farmers of the state to showcase their agricultural activities in buckwheat cultivation, the Buckwheat Global Showcase 2022. The showcase was held at IHM Shillong, where the farmers from in and around the state attended the showcase for a better knowledge of the buckwheat cultivation in the state. For the first time, the buckwheat food was also prepared in the state on this day at IHM Shillong, where participants with interest in cooking participated in this showcase. The participants comprises of professional chef and home bakers, judges from different parts of the country attended the event in order to make sure that the buckwheat food items prepared by different chefs is being prepared in a way that the consumers expected it to be.
I'm a home baker, and for the challenge I chose the traditional food instead of baking. The reason is I just want to taste the buckwheat coming first time into our state. It's like something very new into the cuisine, the Khasi cuisine. So I just want to take the challenge, to take risks, how the buckwheat goes with the with the Khasi traditional food. Because we normally for Khasi we don't have so much spices. We only the chili, the turmeric, and the black sesame are the most main basic ingredients. So for now, for this challenge, I've taken the Khasi traditional food. I've added some of the pork here and the chicken. So I'll go twice here so that I'll make explanation. This is the pork meat with the sesame seeds. We used to call it Niyong Khasi, the black sesame seed, cooked along with the half grain. Not the seeds, but the half grain. I cooked along with that, and it's the balance also. It's like okay, it's tasty. And the rice also here I've cooked jado. We call it jado. I've cooked it with pork, and then I cook along with the onions, turmeric, and I boil the grain, the buckwheat grain. This is the chicken mixed with onions and buckwheat, and then sprinkle a little bit of ginger and garlic. And this one is the mashed potato. This one is mashed along with the whole grain. Here. And this is the chutney with the buckwheat. This is boiled buckwheat. So to this, to add more taste, I add a little bit of carrots and lemon. So this is the dishes I prepared today.
And it is mainly served with smoked salmon and caviar. But I've made it into a vegetarian substitute. So I've served it with charred mushrooms and baby corns and olives. And along with, I was supposed to make a caviar, but it did not set. Maybe it was the oil was not cold enough, or maybe the gelatin did not set. So I'm really sorry for that. So instead of smoked salmon, I the pancake is made of buckwheat as it is traditionally made, and in the toppings I've used baby corn and mushrooms.
Since we all have heard that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, I am doing a breakfast recipe. So most of the things have already been done in the IHM kitchen. So I am just going to assemble and try and make it a very delicious breakfast, delicious and healthy breakfast for all of us here to see. And also you all can volunteer yourself and come and taste. And this is basically to make every one of you to understand that buckwheat is not just healthy, it is also a very, very delicious breakfast option. So I'll be plating two different ways. One is a tart that you can see here. These tart shells are completely buckwheat, made of buckwheat. So they have been done before in the IHM kitchen. We have already prepared this. Apart from that, I have made a crumble, buckwheat crumble, along with oats. So I've roasted the oats, added into the crumble, and we're gonna plate it along with some Greek yogurt. Now you can do a lot of varieties with the yogurt part. You can, you can use simple plain dahi if you want to. You can add a lot of cream if you want to. So that depends upon your personal choice and your taste. Whatever you like, you can add to this. So this is just an example to millions of things that you can do with your buckwheat. This is the buckwheat crumble. It's very easy. Added a little bit of butter to it, some sugar. It totally depends upon you if you want to add sugar. You don't want to add sugar, you can use castor, you can use your brown sugar, and just baked it for a while, 180, 190 degrees for about 20 minutes in your oven, and a crumble is ready. So this is the crumble, and here is the yogurt. Now these can be a flavored yogurt, this can be plain yogurt, whatever you feel like or you think that is suitable to your palate, you can use that. So the pineapples have been fire roasted and Chef Atul is helping me to chop it. So it looks like this. It will elevate the taste, it will give a nice flavor to the buckwheat. It's interesting that when interesting things happens in your mouth, right? So it becomes more adventurous. So that's what we are doing right now. So this is something very simple. We're just making it fancier. So you can probably surprise your guests with what buckwheat can actually do. And this is another bowl here that I have. I'm going to just place in the yogurt. Make a nice bed out of it. Extremely healthy. So we're just trying to make it more delicious. So once we place the yogurt here, we're gonna add the crumble and the oats that I've made, combined it together, and some wonderful pineapples from the very beautiful state of Meghalaya. You can put in your berries, you can put in other, beautiful fruits that you get over here. So we leave that to your imagination. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of mint leaves for the color and for the extra freshness or whatever you want to say. So this can be your daily breakfast, guilt-free breakfast, and this can be probably when you have guests at your home and you want to do something fancier, something nicer. So this can be, it just elevates the look. Otherwise, the health benefits remains the same. Your buckwheat is the same. It's just how we have presented it out. Very delicious buckwheat tart with buckwheat crumble and caramelized pineapple on top. And this can be a hearty meal. Your breakfast with Greek yogurt, buckwheat crumble, and some charred pineapples on top.
If there are farmer producer companies out here, I would request that please listen to this presentation very carefully, because there is something very special that you can do with us. And we really welcome all the farmer producer companies to join hands with us. So the trials in grapes, trials in pomegranate, and many other crops like tomato, they have again proved that our products will help you reduce the fertilizers, pesticides, and also it increases the shelf life. So I could see a lot of wineries here, and I understand that these wineries are not grape-based wines. They're not making grape-based wines. So whichever crop you're using, these products can be used across the crops. So if you see on the picture, there is cauliflower, where you can see on one side there is a control, the other side there is a treated plot. So cauliflower size is much bigger when it is in a treated plot. And this is after the use of one of our products called Asawa. Similarly, if you look at cucumber, that's again a marked difference, and that is through our product called Somrit. And the lower most, it's in chickpea, which is again with our product Asawa. So Asawa and Somrit have given you very high yields. From these pictures only, you can very well see that. Now, to validate all this, we need government reports. And I am very proud to say that Tamil Nadu Agriculture University, which conducted trials with our products and technologies for close to 2 years, have given us the report about paddy. Paddy, one of the most important crop of India, which consumes maximum amount of pesticides, and it's a high urea guzzling crop. And the results are magical. If you look at the lowermost part of the report, it specifically says that with the uses of Asawa, the yield of paddy increased by 30%. 30% increase in yield, that too in Tamil Nadu Agriculture University, which had its own package of practices in the control plot. And they reduced the fertilizer by 50%. So one of the testimony from the government is with Tamil Nadu Agriculture University. The other is with IIT Delhi, which has also analyzed these products for their biochemistry, in their biochemistry labs. And they have acted on the crop at different stages, results. So with all this, we've been able to solve three big problems. And what are these three big problems? We have lowered the cost of cultivation, beyond doubts. 50% reduction in the cost of cultivation for the farmer is not using the amount of chemical or the fertilizer that he was using before these crops, before uses of these products. 50% also, there is a reduction in the subsidy amount from the government side. In this year, the subsidy amount is totaling to close to around 2 lakh crores. In fact, more than that. So if you see, 50% reduction would mean a huge amount. It has also increased productivity, and that means it's a higher profits for the farmer. On one side, they have reduced the cost. On the other side, they have increased the profits. And the third thing, which is actually in the interest of the nation for our own food sufficiency, is they have improved the soil quality by improving the soil carbon content, as well as the activating the soil or charging the soil with bioproducts. So now we came to know that this is important. Whatever we've developed in our Farmix range is being adopted widely by the farmers, and the government is supporting us in this. But this is just a journey. The journey has just begun, and we require something what we call as a holistic approach. Because replacing one fertilizer or one chemical is not the aim. Not be able to actually get to the desired result of a chemical-free farming. Because what we can do with these products is reduction in 50%. But what about the rest 50%? We want to reduce 100% of it. And the 100% can only be reduced if the community is with us. And the community means you farmers. So the farmers of any state are very important to do this. And this is why we require farmers, farmer organizations to work with us and to develop certain technologies at their local level which can replace the rest of the 50% chemicals. And believe me, within a period of 2 to 3 years, you will be able to reduce you will be able to transform the farming from chemical-based farming to non-chemical based farming. There won't be even a single drop of chemical you will require. But we require the will and the dedication of the farmers at their community level. And how we will do this? We will help you out. So there are two systemic and holistic approaches. It's completely systemic. Systemic means where you need to change the system. And holistic means it is wholesome. And so that you don't require any external agent for changing. So we have something called as a common community infrastructure. Again, it's a community-based infrastructure where you will be able to painlessly transform without any decrease in profits, without any decrease in the yield, and with improving the soil quality on a sustainable basis. So you will be able to do that through our common community infrastructure, and the organic content of the soil would increase because there are a lot of things available in our own community which can be recycled to go into the farms with certain additives which are in the form of microbes and enzymes that we have developed over the past 15-20 years. The community of the farmers, the main job is basically farming. And farming is not only crop production, right? Farming is not only crop production. It has a lot of other things. It also has livestock rearing. It also has maybe poultry or other aspects of farming, silkworms in some areas. So when we talk of the community of farmers, they are doing a lot of things where a lot of waste is also generated. And it is important that how we are able to use that waste and to generate the best of the manures that we can plow back into our soil so that a circular economy is maintained. We don't have to import anything, and at the same time, we are able to recycle everything that is available.
This question is relating to the stability of genes and traits that the seed to maintain the seed quality. So we'd like to know, like for how many generations or for how long would the quality of certain or a certain trait in that of the gene of the seed, for how long is it stable, so that we can maintain the quality of the seed?
Thank you very much for the question. It's an important question from the agricultural point of view. The problem is not with the stability of the genes. The genes, if they are there, they are stable. The problem is the stability of the yield. And that stability of the yield is because the cultivars that we are cultivating are cross-pollinating. And because of cross-pollination, we have what in technical terms we call heterozygosity. That means the plant changes its yield potential from year to year. Now this is not so big a problem with Phagoparum tataricum. In fact, this is not a problem with tataricum at all. This is a problem mostly with the common buckwheat, that is esculentum. And here also I would say that varieties have been developed. There are several varieties which have been developed in Japan, and there are varieties which have been developed in India also, which are fairly stable. And if we use those varieties, you don't need to worry for the yield instability at all. And the stability of the genes will be across generations, and across generations. They will not be unstable for the traits that we are talking about. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thì bên jumpa bên này jeng kali isa yang ba yakini ki jinglong jong kini ki sembai mo kila banne shibun pateng kata ladangi pendonkam de kini ki jat kabakila ki bakila sut bha ne bakila jet bha na kini ki jaka bakila ki research mo namar ba kam shong e ha ki ni ki jeans baki au hendre ka shong ha ki jing wat ki jongi ya ki jing wat jongi ni ki start sayan ya ki ni ki jing long ki badon ha po jong ni sambai bakila ban ne da ki bon pateng. The next question is to Mr. Goto. Yes, so yes, sir, this is for you. So this is mainly regarding the time of harvest. So according to you, what is the best time to harvest? And at what stage, or what is the percentage when we see it, browning and getting to that stage of browning? So what is the best stage to harvest it?
Sowing season starts from end of May or early June in Japan. And harvesting will be done in September. It means 3 months later. So Mr. Goto harvesting by using machine. Okay, the timing is 70% of black colored. It means some of seeds still remain green, maybe 30%. It contributes a good flavor, aroma of buckwheat.
If we do not understand when to harvest, so that is what Mr. Goto has said, when approximately, we can't measure it fully, when approximately 70 to 75% of the seeds are showing the signs of browning, at that time is the right time to harvest, because if you will keep on waiting for all the seeds to mature, then there is seed fall, seed shedding. So the seeds will fall on the ground, those which have matured, and so our yields will decrease. So the best way is when on this plant, approximately 70 to 75% flowers have started turning, not flowers, the grains have started turning brown. At that time, cut the plant and harvest it. Second thing is, don't thrash the plant at the time of harvest. If you thrash the plant at the time of harvest, the seeds will fall on the ground and they will not be recoverable. So cut the plant, keep it on side, and just thrash it with hand after you have put it on the ground. The seeds will fall and your yields will be the best. Thank you.
Mr. Wallam Kuparlingra from Mausiakram has 3 questions. In fact, the first question is about cropping the crop of buckwheat in the same place. He's asking, like, is it okay to keep on growing buckwheat on the same plot of land 2 or 3 times a year? Will it have any impact in the soil or any other issues about it, like crop rotation? Is it required, or can we grow buckwheat in the same plot 2-3 times a year, and can we continue that for years? Second question is about maybe cross-pollination effect. He says, like, in his farm, there are flowers, all other flowers of other plants around his buckwheat field. So when he sees the bees flying from those flowers and then coming to the flowers of buckwheat, will it have any impact on the yield or other aspects of buckwheat? And then the third question he's asking about is, what are the technologies of dehulling that we can get over here so that they can get good growth, clean growths for the purpose of processing ahead. Right now they are using only local ways, dehuller. So he said, like, if there is a technology for dehulling, proper dehulling, that can be shared amongst us. These are the 3 questions.
The first question, I assume, was whether we can repeatedly cultivate buckwheat on the same plot of land. Yes, there is no problem. You can cultivate. Buckwheat is a low input crop. We don't require more of fertilizers. If you add fertilizers during the vegetative growth, it is good. Nitrogen and phosphorus is more important. But it's grown across in the Himalayas in a polyculture. That means barley and buckwheat grows together. You can continue to prepare the land repetitively for the same buckwheat crop, no problem, you can do it. The second question was? Pollen. Yeah, see, the problem is that if you have a mix of different crops growing in the same area and bees are visiting from one plant to another, then the honey that you will get will not be pure buckwheat honey. And for that, we have to keep isolation protocols in as much as possible. Not fully, but if there are large tracts of buckwheat cultivation, then bees who move short distance from one flower to another will not will not be attracted by other plants. So the problem which you are visualizing is taken care of automatically. Buckwheat honey has a great market potential. As we said, there are honeys available from different sources. Many of them are, I would say, not of the purest quality. So if you are able to generate pure quality buckwheat honey, which is high antioxidant, high nutritive potential, it can be branded. It is being branded as a strong market. So that's about the buckwheat honey. Third one. Okay. Dehulling is very important. Now I will explain to you why it is important. If you just grind the seeds, then the seed coat, which we call as the hull, it goes along with the flower and it gives a bitter taste to the flower, and the flower becomes blackish white. In order to prevent that, we remove the seed coat, and this is what we call as dehulling. There are two types of dehullings called. One we call as cold dehulling, another is called thermal dehulling. Thermal dehulling is just like a popcorn, how you put it. You give a heat under vacuum, the seed pops up and the growth comes out. After that, yesterday, as I said in my talk also, you will have hull and the growth in the same fraction. You have to use a separation technology to separate the growths and the hull, and that is machines are also available. Some information about this is already with Dr. Sohelia. He can pass that on. And nowadays, this is not a problem at all. Except if we do manual dehulling, then we are taking a lot of time, which is not economically viable. Thank you.
Later, the program was unveiled in the presence of the MLA of Maringning constituency, who is the chief guest in the occasion, Mr. Pinyat Singh Siem, Ms. Kyoko Hugoko, Minister Economics and Development, Embassy of Japan, and Mr. Iko Watanabe, First Secretary, Food and Agriculture, Embassy of Japan, Mr. K.N. Kumar, retired IAS, Chairman of MFEC, Mr. B.K. Solia, Executive Advisor, MFEC, and delegations of farmers from across the state. Other dignitaries present at the event are Mr. Atsuhiro Goto from Japan, Professor N.K. Krungu, Shri T.K. Razdan, Srimati Gunjan Goela, Shri Sanjay Thakur, Shri Vijay Kumar, and Chef Joel Basumatari.
Now, the objectives of this global showcase are threefold. Number one, to enhance the area and production of buckwheat in the state by exposing the farmers to the world of buckwheat. Already about 200 to 300 farmers are already involved, but that is not sufficient for us. We have to expand the space and the scope for these farmers by first of all making them aware, and then thereafter to giving them the necessary skills and inputs. I'll give you I will trace this whole story, which started about 3 years ago. I was at that point of time Agriculture Production Commissioner in the state of Meghalaya, and a very humble looking scientist just walked into my room. His name was Dr. Arunav Patnaik. He was formerly with the Indian Council of Agricultural Research of Northeastern Hills region here at Badapani. And after that, he had moved out. He was in Almora, where we have what is called as VPKAS, that is Vivekananda Parvatiya Krishi Anusandhan Samstha. I think, if I'm right. Okay. So he was there, and he talked about buckwheat. And honestly, I had never heard about buckwheat by then. And I must tell you that I was a student of agriculture during my academic studies, but I never heard of buckwheat at all. So when he had mentioned that buckwheat to me, I was just thinking, what? I mean, this scientist doesn't inspire much confidence. Honestly, he's such a humble person. I was just wondering, is it something that I should work out? And after a while, true to his word, I said, okay, send me some seed, we will see. And true to his word, he had sent me 20 kilograms of seed. And today we have buckwheat growing in our state, about 200 acres. Now, as I speak, 200 acres. And we have a target of achieving at least 1,000 acres within the next 2 years. So now we have understood. Now we have understood that this is a game changer for the state of Meghalaya, especially from our farming community's perspective. And this global showcase is a unique event being attempted by us for the first time, not just in the state, not just in the region, but in the whole country. Such an event has never happened anywhere in the country. There are reasons for that, because we don't produce. We are actually an importer, net importer. In fact, the global buckwheat market is growing at a CAGR, that is compounded annual growth rate, of 4.2%, and is expected to reach a market value of around $2 billion by 2027. So that means in the next 4 to 5 years, it is likely that buckwheat turnover in terms of volumes and in terms of cash is going to be about $2 billion. Now, India as a country has not yet stepped into this emerging superfood called buckwheat. Now, as we speak, India is importing buckwheat, that too in the form of finished products. Means we import noodles, we import small other bakery items, etc. from other countries, especially from Japan, of course, the finished products. So the time has come for us to wake up and start looking at the global potential of buckwheat. So in the state, we are convinced. There is no hesitation or there is no doubt about the suitability of buckwheat to our state's conditions. And we also believe that we can emerge as a very, very significant player in times to come. We can even emerge as the most important buckwheat producing state in the whole country. In this supply chain, the sooner we get into, the better it is for our state. And that responsibility lies squarely with the farmers of our state.
And after arrival in India, which was the beginning of August, and I started work in India, and this is the first business trip out of Delhi. So I'm so much impressed with the whole scenery and etc. And I find there's some similarity with Japanese environment with Meghalaya state, because I think the climate is a bit similar. It's not too hot, and sometimes in the winter time it goes down to 2-3 degrees, what I heard. So with that, maybe the plants are growing in somehow similar way. And this is mountainous place, and it's very good for buckwheat farming. So that's what I found as the first impression.
Learning that Meghalaya's climate conditions are suitable for buckwheat, we have started taking interest in this crop and began our trial at the KVK Upper Shillong 3 years ago. After several trials, the Farmers Commission has worked out the ideal time for planting and is in the process of perfecting the agronomic practices across the state in various regions. We now have the conviction and confidence that we will be able to scale up the production of the crops as and when the demand picks up. We want to expand area gradually because we also will have to calibrate our production with the market demand. I'm particularly happy that there is a significant participation of the Japanese at this event because Japan is the largest importer of buckwheat in the world. I'm also aware that when His Excellency, the Japanese ambassador, visited Shillong earlier, a brief presentation was made to him about Meghalaya's buckwheat initiative, and a sample of our produce was also handed over to him. I'm pleased that the Japanese ambassador has taken interest and has sent his Minister Economics, Ms. Kyoko Hokigo, his first Secretary Agriculture, Mr. Wanabe, and others. Their presence here only reaffirms our conviction that there is a huge future of buckwheat, not just in our country, but globally.
See, the event is successful as it is, but the real success is when we achieve our target of 1,000 acres in the next 2 years. Area and production both will have to go up. That is when the real success is. These events will trigger interest, and the farmers will feel encouraged about cultivating buckwheat. All these are important, but we also have to take care of their input requirements. Like, we should be able to get them the best seed, we should be able to teach them the appropriate skill base. All that will have to be created. So I hope, there are so many issues where we will have to make investments, and I hope all our investments will start coming back to us, and I hope to achieve about 5,000 metric tons of production very soon enough. Maybe it will take 2 years, maybe it will take 3 years, but it's going to happen. And when it happens, Meghalaya will be having a firm foothold in the global buckwheat market. See, the real sustenance comes when the market accepts the product. See, no matter how much we push any agenda, and that particular mission may or may not give the best result if the market is not receiving the products that we are. But so far, whatever products that we have picked up, like aquaculture mission, fish, the production has shot up from about 4,700 metric tons to almost 18,000 metric tons. So Lakadong mission, whatever that we have done there, now both area as well as the number of farmers and the production, all the three have expanded. So there is market now, there is no distress as yet. So farmer is not distressed by his overproduction or excess production. That is when we can consider that particular mission to be a success. Because market tie-ups are also equally important. If we don't do work on the market tie-up, then we'll have a problem, because farmer will produce, but there is nobody to buy. That would be bad. And Farmers Commission is very sensitive to that. We are very careful about it. So that's why this calibrated exercise, we are moving systematically. First, we have to find out where the demand is going to come from. And the demand is coming from Japan, as you know. Japanese whole embassy is here. So they are asking us to supply at least 5,000 metric tons. But at the moment, we don't have that kind of quantity to be given to them.
See, objective is very simple. Buckwheat is, we believe, going to be a game-changing crop for Meghalaya in the next 5 to 10 years. And we believe that this is a crop that can add more income to farmers. So objective of organizing this is very simple, is to make more and more farmers across the state aware that about buckwheat and its potential, and also spread the message across the country that Meghalaya is soon going to become the #1 state in the production of buckwheat in entire India. Because we are perhaps the only state that is putting in place an organized system of cultivation, processing and marketing. That is the objective. Ultimately, the results and the profits should go back to our farmers. As a commission, that is our mandate.
Okay, sir. Regarding the challenges that are farmers facing for procuring seeds, for growing the crop buckwheat, and also for market linkage, how do you plan to deal with that?
See, I'll break them into 3 parts. With regards to seeds, there should not be a problem because why we already are talking to a whole lot of seed companies who are producing buckwheat seed. We're also producing our own seed. See, we started with 20 kilos. We went up to more than 100 kilos of seed in just about 1 season. And we are now touching close to 500 kilos of seed. So by next year, see, we started with 4 acres, we went to 100 acres. Probably by October this year, we will touch 500 acres, and by next year, we should be touching 1,000 acres. Seed should not be a problem. Secondly, the cultivation. Buckwheat is such an easy crop. I mean, and it grows so fast that farmers don't even have to do any weeding. And it's so fast and such a short duration crop that before you know, within about 60 to 70 days, you're already harvesting. So it fits in very, very well between, one season of paddy and the next crop, say, suppose, example, paddy and potato. You can actually grow buckwheat in between these two. So what happens is instead of the land lying vacant and fallow, you can actually use the land to generate more money. So that's why we are saying that buckwheat is an additional income crop for farmers. Regarding markets is very what we are seeing right now. See, earlier we spoke. I mean, even the Japanese spoke about the war in Ukraine and between Ukraine and Russia, and how it's affecting the global supply of buckwheat. Not only buckwheat, wheat, and other cereals. And Japan, which is the biggest importer in the world, is also looking at India as a source to replace Russia and China. The market is huge. Japan is looking at nothing less than 25,000 metric tons of buckwheat per year. In fact, for us, they have also told us that they're willing to buy 5,000 metric tons from Meghalaya. We are not going to be able to do it tomorrow, day after tomorrow, or next year. It will take us at least 3 to 4 years to reach that quantum. But it's encouraging that even now also we have not only Japanese, we also have other companies who already are here, who came here. And they are saying that, look, we are ready to pick up 1,000 tons, 500 metric tons. We have our own local companies here who already, local companies from Shillong who are ready to export buckwheat to Europe. But as I said, what is Meghalaya's advantage? Our advantage is we can grow it 4 times a year. Our advantage is that we are the only state that is actually having an organized production of buckwheat. It will take other people and other states maybe another 3 years to catch up with us. So in that 3 years, we have the opportunity to penetrate the markets, saturate markets, and capture those markets.
Well, viewers, we have come to the end of the program, and it is expected that buckwheat will be the new crop to improve the financial position of the farmers in the state.